Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, The Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome new show this week. All kind of stuff going on. We got all kind of great things we'll talk about. I will talk about some national data, some things going on. I'm just hot off a airplane last night. We got to speak at a conference with really the top 1% of agents in North America. All met up and really kind of shared what's going on, what's happening, and just got some great stuff, some great information, great data. We'll share just kind of what's going on in general, kind of talk a little bit about that as well. And just overall, also big news, interest rates. You may see a bump here coming up soon in terms of rates going up. We'll talk about what that means and what's going to happen with that. They have jumped up a little bit in the past few weeks, and we'll kind of talk about that. Also, we're hitting that spring market really full stride. One thing I've been getting questions a lot about is just look at home inspections and kind of what sellers need to know about them. Should you make repairs beforehand? What are the usual costs? And it's really something I see a lot of people mess up on in terms of agents and obviously anybody trying to do it themselves overall in terms of that. We'll also talk about the big advantage of selling this spring, kind of what's happening right now and what will really make a difference. It's going to come down to inventory and really how you can get multiple offers, drive prices up. And we're seeing that happen really across the board overall. Also, we had this in the last couple of weeks planned. Just didn't have time to get to it. Really want to get to it, though. It's Myrtle Beach named top spot for second homes and retirees, really on a very, very high ranking on national list. And kind of some of the data was interesting to seeing that 50% of the mortgages almost were second homes here in the Myrtle Beach area. And so second or investment homes. So we'll talk about that in terms of what that is. Our team has some amazing success stories. We've absolutely been crushing it as the spring market's gone on, get multiple offers, driving stuff over asking price. We'll talk about that as well. And as usual, our team's always looking to add somebody to our team. We're hiring really A players who want to just serve their clients at the highest level. If you're in real estate, great. Reach out to me. If you're not in real estate, we have our own school and even have a scholarship for that. And I'll talk about that on today's show as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends, the morning show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaWatts. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and again, like I've always kind of mentioned that I made a promise years ago. I talk about this every single show, just a little bit, because it's the biggest mistake I see by far with anyone else in real estate that's looking to sell their property or buy a property. It doesn't matter how affluent they are, how many properties they sold, they still make the same mistake, and I just see it over and over and over. Even so, through people that are listeners to this show, for longtime listeners, they make this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further than true. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? Any waiter, waitress, right? They're not created equal. Why is that? Because it's people, right? Everyone executes at a different level. And when you're dealing with something that's a very high price, like one of your largest assets, aka your house, or one of your properties or investment property, whatever it is, and it has a long sales cycle where there's lots of nuances, lots of things that happen, there's a lot of opportunity for balls to get dropped. And so that's what it really comes down to, just like any lawyer, right? You're going through a case. The last thing you want, if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing you want is a part-time attorney who's tried a few cases, right? But for some reason, people will deal with their largest assets with some random agent that got referred to them, or somebody they know, or somebody who just got their license, who sold 3 or 4 homes in the last 12 months. And so that's the last person you want representing you for your largest assets. And you should demand the same level of excellence in your personal life in terms of largest asset as you do for any attorney, any doctor, whatever it is, because it's a service-based business, and we live by this thing that details matter. We see this happen over and over and over again. The real reality of why that is, in selling a property is 118 different variables from A to Z. And so if each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point. That could be anything from, does your agent actually answer the telephone? Does your agent respond to web inquiries online? If they do, how long does it take them to respond? If they actually take good photos or cell phone photos, the photos matter because your first showing actually happens online. So there actually is an order you want to have to your photos where the second, third, and fourth photos sell the buyer on looking at more photos. And so that's how you do all these small things in terms of positioning online and all these nuances, all the way down to negotiating purchase price, negotiating home inspection, that make or break the home sale. And so what happens is, what you don't realize is most people just deal with an agent who promises the world, basically tell them anything and everything to get the listing. They do the 3 Ps. The second P they do is they put it to MLS, and 3, they just pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they just put it MLS and let it ride. They're down the street trying to get the next listing. And so it's a big deal because you want to make sure you have something in place to help manage that property while it's listed. And so that's what most agents do. And I saw it years ago and said, look, there's got to be a better way. And we sought out and said, look, how do we create something that's predictable and repeatable that creates maximum leverage for our client? And we had one goal with it. The goal was, how do we give our client a competitive advantage in the marketplace when they're selling their house? And so we sought out, designed this system called the Guaranteed Sold System, only proven system, so it's twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We licensed it to other agents in other parts of the country. But here's what it does. It uses two main things, people and technology, to make sure they manage those variables proactively to create maximum leverage in small increments for our clients. And so, like I mentioned, it's a very long sales cycle. So what we do, though, we have technology, basically step-by-step processes and really software we developed and put over 6 figures in developing, and it allows us to make sure we manage everything proactively, the right things in the right order. And it's backed up by a team of people. Over 35 people on our team. We have inside sales, outside sales, listing specialists, photographer, videographer, all these people that are in the process, right, in that ecosystem, that we can manage the variables, and it allows us to control the process much better and create a much more predictable result for our client. And it's ultimately how we sell properties faster and for more money. And so that's a big difference in terms of what the average agent does, what our team does. And so the reason I bring that up is that you want the absolute best service when you're getting a restaurant, right? Obviously, you should demand the same exact level of service when you're selling your largest asset. And that's what we do with that system. On the flip side, guess what? There's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. It's very difficult, especially in low inventory environments. And the agent that you choose matters. There's so many nuances and things that need to be done from what we call a knowledge worker, right? Who's using their knowledge in the industry to help guide you through the process. You want the absolute best, and you should demand that. And so we obviously have number one team here in Myrtle Beach, top 60 in the country, but it's using these systems like we mentioned for buyers out there. We have this system called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. It's priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection, which we'll talk about later, to get you to that closing table successfully. And like I mentioned, is designed to help you basically get one thing. It's a massive competitive advantage in the process. And so that's something very, very important to look at. Like I mentioned, what most people don't realize is most agents operate one agent trying to juggle all the balls. And so you have one agent, average agent marketplace sells 4 homes a year. That's 1 per quarter. That's not a whole lot of knowledge to really advise you in the right direction based on what's happening, because the market's changing really day by day and obviously month by month. And so you want somebody who's good at that. And what you find is most agents operate like an old school cassette tape. They're old school. They operate old school, just like they did in the 70s and 80s. You have one agent trying to juggle all the balls. So all the agents usually are working with buyers, working with sellers. The problem is you work with buyers, you got to show 10, 15 properties to like get them a house. They're also trying to do your listing. And so what's happening is you have the same person, McDonald's, trying to do the front register, the drive-through, and the french fries at the same time. It's very, very, very inefficient, which is why most people are unhappy with their experience in the back end. And so you want to have a system and a process where everyone's a specialist. And that's what we do with our system. I share it every week because just you owe it to yourself to reach out to check it out, because you want to experience a difference. And the last thing you want to gamble with is your largest assets. You want to more, reach out to me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com.
So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home right now, every detail means dollars, and who you hire to negotiate your home, that really matters. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor who invests in real estate all across the great country of ours, I want the best negotiator representing my interests. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. They can help you navigate through multiple cash offers, and more importantly, he has turned complicated situations into 5-star reviews. Now check out his rave reviews on Google. Talk to him yourself. If you are on trial with big money at stake, you would want a seasoned negotiator with thousands of victories. if they will take you on and you can afford them, right? Well, your home deserves the best representation. Know your options, see how much demand your home can command in this market right now, and get the best representation that you deserve. Call Blake Sloan today at 808 sold. That's 808 sold. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Gorman. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers that time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for help, or even rent.
That's great. And if the seller has a bid for it,
Use our proven marketing plan and sell to the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market alert. One thing to do every week is just keep you updated real time what's happening. We track these numbers every day in our office and really just kind of help our clients do one thing, which is make better decisions. And so the deeper we go in the data, like I mentioned before, I'm a big nerd for numbers. And so we like to use that data to help show our clients how to make better decisions. In many cases, be more aggressive in price, putting more money in their pocket, where there's two types of data. The front, windshield numbers, which is what's happening real time. You got to think most of the numbers that people share out there, like the closed numbers that everyone really uses nationally and locally, things we use for years here. If you look at closed deals last month, it's great, but the reality is they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior. And so you want to be able to have a touch and a feel on two types of numbers, the front windshield numbers, we call them, and the rear view mirror numbers, which is what closed. And so right now, we track this every week. Active properties in the MLS, which are active single family properties, which is inventory, right? 850 active homes right now, 831 last week. So that's great news for home buyers out there. A few more properties that are active. There's one point we're in the 300s just really last year. So we're seeing that kind of level out, which is good, but it's still very, very, very low inventory. We'll talk about that in a second. Looking at properties under contract, the market's still rock and roll in this full spring market. Last week's show, there's 588 properties that went under contract, which is a 15% increase from the previous week with 504. Right now, up even more at 590 properties under contract, which is awesome. Volume last week was $218 million in properties under contract last 7 days. Right now, 220,433,877. What that means is it's up even more than last week. And last week was up 16.5% than the previous week. And so it's so cool to track this data and know real time what's going on so you can see it and say, hey, look, this is how we push a little bit higher in price. This is how we get more money for our clients. And we always mention that really details matter. And this is a great example of that overall. And here's the cool part. A lot of high-end homes still moving like crazy. 15 properties over $1 million under contract last 7 days, which is awesome. 93 properties over 500,000, which is great news overall. And then so we're seeing the market be super hot right now in this spring market. Why is that? Because everyone's coming to town. We mentioned that people have been planning their trip for months, been stalking properties, coming in town for spring break, coming in after spring break. And really the hottest time is that mid to late spring market. We're seeing that right now. We're seeing that really not just here, but other parts of the country right now, which is awesome. Looking at MLS numbers, the closed numbers, which is the rear view mirror numbers, which is still important because that's what appraisers use. That's what everybody can see. Hey, look, this is what things actually close for. This is what value is. And so it's how you really make decisions and based on what appraisals come in and things like that. But here's one thing that's very interesting. If you look at closed properties, which is single family resale homes, which is what most everyone's selling, what everybody's owns. We obviously sell everything. We sell condos, commercial, residential. We have a huge team. So we do have everybody who specializes in each type of that. But check this out. So closed sales last month in the overall entire MLS, which is Southern North Carolina, all the way down past Georgetown, inland, Dillon, Marion, all that stuff as well. Sales are down 31.3% year over year. So if you look at March versus March, there's 483 properties that closed in March this year. There was 703 last year. Last year, though, March was the highest number. That's when rates started climbing up, pretty fast, and that's when everybody started pumping the brakes, and the market really kind of slowed down since then. But here's the coolest part. Sales, though, were up 40% month over month. And so one of the slowest months we've had in a very, very long time was February with only 321 closings, which is very, very, very slow. January wasn't much better at 332. And so right now from February at 321, it jumped in March to 483 properties closed, which is awesome. It's a 40% jump just month versus month. Remember we talking about previous episodes that as soon as January 1st hit, everyone kind of got out of that paralysis. Rates came back down below 7, and it was rock and rolling again. We had a huge first couple weeks of January, first couple weeks of February, and that showed up in terms of closings in March. We're seeing a 40% jump right now, which is great, great news overall. In the sales price, if you look at year over year, 4.2% for resale homes, which is awesome at 369,900. If you look at average sale price, it was down slightly. My numbers still coming up on the thing, down 3.9% at 442,551, but it's just been bouncing around. So it was 442 last month. If you look back in January, it's 446. It dipped in February at 430. It's back up here in March at 442. I think, in my opinion, we'll see that raise up a little bit just because there's been such a run, 40% increase in sales, inventory staying the same or going less. It's going to put pressure on price, and price is always that lagging indicator. And so we always know it's supply and demand based, right? As demand is up, supply is down. It puts pressure on price, and price, it tends to lag behind that 1 to 2 months behind. And so we'll see that jump up there a little bit this month. And so what that means as a home seller, it's a great time to tee your house up to make sure you can hit that seasonality of the market, as well as being on the heels of a 40% increase in sales, as everyone's been making moves that have been sitting on the sidelines. Remember last year, November, December was very, very slow. There's a lot of people who were uncertain about interest rates. People went to the holidays. And so what happened was the very beginning of 2023, a lot of buyers have jumped back in, and we're seeing that tremendously in terms of relocations from other areas here on the Grand Strand, which is awesome. One of the big, most important numbers really has been inventory. Inventory is kind of at an all-time low long term. It's up from last year. And so if you look at last year, it's at 0.9 months inventory, which is very, very, very low. Right now, it's at 2.6 months inventory, which is awesome. It's about the same it was in February. It's 2.5, March 2.6. And so anything less than 6 months is a seller's market, meaning the seller has the advantage because there's just low inventory. And so we've been this low inventory for a while, but the reality is it's still very, very, very good time for sellers out there right now, because they can get and choose the price they want. In many cases, get multiple offers, driving that up, especially in the spring market. We'll talk about some of the national numbers are showing that's what's happening across the board overall, which is great news for home sellers. Buyers out there, for condos out there. Condo sales down 30.6% from last year, but huge jump month over month as well. Went from 369 properties closed in February to 558 in March, which is a huge jump there as well. So big time move. And that's just everybody jumping up back off the sidelines, back into the game. And so the March was a big, big month for closed sales for really condos and resale homes. Prices for condos up 9.5% year over year overall, which is great. 230,000 overall. Looking at the average sale price, up 4.4% at 264,000, and supply there is still very, very, very low. It actually decreased month over month at 2.2 months of inventory. And so that's where you're seeing a lot of competition, a lot of multiple offers, and a great time for home sellers out there, which is great, great news overall. And so if you're thinking about selling, I share that because you want to tee it up with a seasonality. Don't wait too long this year, because obviously we talked in previous shows how the spring market happened earlier. And obviously we're about to come into that summertime now when everyone's coming down buying. And we just find that obviously we're Myrtle Beach. 80% of our web leads that we get on the internet, we spend tons of money on the internet. They come from up north, the Northeast. We obviously target them. We get them all across the country. We find that they search for months, and then they time their vacation together with their home search, and they buy something when they're here in many cases. And so you want to make sure that you're obviously having your house in the market, having it ready to go. And if you're thinking about doing so, reach out to us. At least get a free consultation. We can guide you in just kind of what to do and give you tips on what to do, what not to do to get the most amount of money. But reach out, call us, 843-808 sold. Looking at interest rates, that's going to be the next wild card here overall. They've been creeping up. You go back to just 2 shows ago, 6.18%. Last week was 6.67%. It bumped around the past couple of days, but right now it's the same as it was last week, 6.67%. It's up 0.1% from yesterday. But here's the deal: the headline right now for the interest rates is just not great for home sellers or home buyers. It says mortgage rates rise again as the markets brace for inflation. So that's something we see. It may creep back up. I found that threshold here is at 7% when people just really pump the brakes. And it's kind of becoming the new norm a little bit, but at the same time, a lot of people are just holding where they're at. And so you want to make sure if you're thinking about buying, take advantage of that before rates do creep back up at all. And also, if you're thinking about selling, take advantage of that while buyers are still buying and rates are still fairly low, below that 7% mark. 15-year fixed rate right now, 6.05%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 6.25%. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 6.80%. A 30-year FHA, 6.25%. A 30-year VA, 6.24%. And so still holding tight, still good numbers. And we're going to watch that detail, see what happens here next week, keep you updated. I'll take a quick break, right back in a second with our hot buyers alert.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working with ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area from $250,000 to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, please reach out to us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808. So one thing we've been doing for a while here is just putting our money where our mouth is. Everybody in the world promises you all these things and all this stuff that most time can't back up. And so one thing that we talk about here is we have a huge advantage in the marketplace because of the business model that I designed. It allowed us to create this hybrid model. We have a team that operates as a brokerage. And so what's happening is, like when I was at the big box stores, when I first started, I was at Remax, Coldwell Banker, and when I was there, it was me versus everyone else, right? They didn't care about me. I didn't care about them. In some cases, they were trying to steal my leads over the cubicle walls. I mean, it's crazy, right? But they didn't care about me or my listings. But with our system, everyone's in alignment. We have a team of buyer experts who specialize in buyers. We have a team of listing specialists. We have, like I said, inside sales, outside sales. And so the reality is when you have a team of specialists versus somebody who's a generalist, you can specialize a lot more. And it allows me to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. So one of the questions I get a lot is like, hey, why should I use you versus anyone else? Why should we, do business with you versus anyone else? And the reality is we outspend the average agent 100 to 1. Well, what does that mean? Well, it comes down to exposure, right? We are able to get you more eyeballs on your property because of the model here. Then we're able to drive price up, and we also can push to sell it faster. And so the reality is right now we have 72,053 active home buyers, and 72,053 active home buyers, meaning username, password, account. They're able to obviously log in, look at properties. And so we're able to work with them. And that's something that's been very, very, very powerful for us because we even have software that we developed that allows us to take any new listing, aka your property, and reverse engineer the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search pattern. And so very, very powerful. It's like right now, I got Lee on the site from Mabane, North Carolina. I got Craig from Rockville, Maryland. I got John and Melissa from Pine Bush, New York. I got Marlene from Asheville, North Carolina. I got Vicky from Myrtle Beach. I got Bobby from Myrtle Beach. I got Michael from New York, New York. I got Frank from Boston, Massachusetts. I got Robert from Ontario, Canada, Chicago, Illinois. And so all over Southampton, PA, Bowling Springs, South Carolina, and so Mount Holly, New Jersey. The reality is we have so many buyers, and so it gives us a huge advantage where once we start the process, we're not just starting marketing for your home once you call us. We've been doing this for months and months and months and years and years and years, and it allows us to give you, the seller, a competitive advantage in the marketplace where most agents start the process by taking some cell phone photos, putting a for sale sign in the yard, and praying that someone else actually comes by. And so we're also different in the terms of our model here, where these 72,053 buyers, guess what? Our team's calling them all day, every day, and they're matching up buyers and sellers. And they ask, what's the difference between you and just the old discount agent or whatever it is out there? As our team makes an average of 16,000 phone calls a week. 16,000 phone calls. They're calling in these 72,000 people and they're chatting with them. Hey, what are you looking for? What's going on? And we're able to match them up with obviously our sellers, and we match up buyers because we have a team who serves buyers. And so the advantage is, guess what? We're actively seeking out buyers to match up with sellers because guess what? That's what we're hired to do. Not just put it to MLS and not just let it sit there and hope that someone else comes along. We're here hustling, bringing buyer together, bringing seller together, and it helps us because here's the deal. That's what we're in business to do, is make money and match up buyers and sellers. And so if you're thinking about selling, we inventory, like I mentioned, we're very, very low inventory right now. We have 72,053 buyers. One of the things I mentioned, both when rates went up, all the way through COVID is that we have not backed down advertising one single bit. And what we actually did was double down on advertising while many agents have pulled back. We saw a huge slowdown November, December. And guess what? We doubled down in marketing, which has allowed us to, number one, capture more market share, but serve our clients at the highest level while everyone else is nickel and diming their client through the process. And so that's something we're proud of. And the reason I shared, if you're thinking about selling, anyone you come across at work, do me a favor. The most really powerful thing that we get from doing this show is somebody refers them, a friend or relative to us. Make sure we take the absolute best care of them, and we serve them at the highest level. So very proud of this too. Awesome success story. James, he actually was looking to help his parents who already had a vacation home here in Myrtle Beach. They're elderly, and he wanted to help them through the process. They're just not able to visit as much as they're used to. James and his parents wanted to get it sold, but they wanted a smooth and easy process without having to go in and fix everything up because it's a little bit dated. He reached out to multiple investors and also agents to see what they get in the best course of action. The investors just lowballed him with lowball offers, and the agents wanted to push him to fix everything up. And so thankfully, he was referred to us by an awesome radio listener. We came in, showed him exactly what we do, how we have thousands of buyers that are matching exactly what they're looking for, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had James and his parents a fantastic as-is offer on the property within days for much more than they ever thought possible. Now they're able to move forward with confidence, put maximum dollar in their pocket, and moved on with obviously convenience and ease for them, which is also well. And also Mark and Mary, they've been trying to sell a property they have for a while. Long story short, did our custom marketing plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, first reality walkthrough, had 50 showings, 12 offers, $25,000 of asking price. And so that's a simple breakdown of how the system works, what it does. And that's what we want to help you do as well. And so if you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us 843-808-SOLD at BlakeSloan.com. We have a couple minutes here left. One thing I'll talk about home inspection right now that a lot of people aren't realizing, but here's some recent data. 95% of buyers are requesting home inspections right now, and 67% of buyers are asking for repairs as a result of the home inspection. Here's what I find. Most agents are inexperienced. They sell 4 homes a year. They're desperate, and guess what they do? They throw you under the bus in 2 seconds so they can pay their rent next month, right? They don't really know how to negotiate strong. They're not doing a lot of transactions here. We're selling 2 properties a day on average. And in some cases, more than that. We're averaging right now this year, first quarter, 17 properties a week under contract. And so we're very good at doing this. And guess what we do? We negotiate very, very, very hard for our clients. But I'm watching home sellers do 2 things. Number one, they pay for double what the repairs would cost because they ask for a credit. And by the time the buyer brings it up, you're under the gun. You can't mess it up. And so a lot of people just pay too much to get this stuff done. Thankfully, with us, we have vendors who can do it. We can get quotes and make sure that, number one, we're not giving that money away. But I noticed too that buyers reach out and they ask for so much more. Why is that? They see something that's minimal, but they freak out and ask you for a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 credit. You want to make sure you have somebody who can guide you the right way. We're very, very good at this. We have breakdowns and graphs and data that we're able to use to negotiate very, very hard on your behalf. And we know what to do that won't lose the deal. And so if you want to know more, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD at BlakeSloan.com anytime. We'll see you back here next week.
I had time to go